Welcome back to our discussion on the Go programming language. So in past lessons we have been looking at the basic data types such as string, int, bool, and from your previous programming courses you learned that those were single variables. They could store a single value, with the exception of course of an array. So what happens when we want to group a collection of primitive or built-in types together to represent a larger entity? So for example, how would I be able to represent a person? Because we know a person has, for example, a first name, a last name, a sex, an age, and so on. Of course, Go does not come pre-installed with a person type, so we as programmers need to build that type. Okay, so to do that, Go provides us with the struct type. So when we create a struct, okay, and let's do that. And notice I'm creating my struct outside. So a struct, so here I will create a person. So we start off with the type keyword, simply telling Go that you're going to create a new type, which will be named person. Alright. Now, the last thing we need to specify is the keyword struct. Okay, and this tells Go that what I am about to create has multiple pieces inside of it, and those pieces collectively is what I call a person. Okay, so let's say we want to check to see if the person is alive, living. Well, we could create a variable named alive, and we could say that it is of type bool. Okay, let's say we also want to find the person's age, or define the person's age as an int. We also want first name, and we want last name. Okay, so this is my person struct. Alright, so whenever I refer to the type person, I'm referring to all of these things. Okay, however, it's much easier to use a collective name of person instead of individually referring to all of these pieces. Alright, so if I said that this is a type, then it means that I am able to create persons, just like how I was able to create ints and strings and so on. I could create a person type. So let's create a person type. So I will go inside of main, and once again I'll use var. I'll give the variable name, let's call it p1 for person 1, and of course I now need to specify a type such as int, bool, string. But since we're wanting to create a person type, we will say person. Okay, and Go, because Go knows about this person, it's not a problem. Alright, so let's see what would happen if we printed. So here we declare a person. Let's print this person. Okay, so let's print the person. Let's print person 1 with its 0 value. So notice I did not initialize alive, age, first name, last name. So what gets printed? So I'm curious to see what are the 0 values for a struct, a person struct. So to print, I'm simply gonna say modulus v, Okay, let's get a new line, and we want to print P1. Okay. All right. So let's leave this as is, and let's run this. By the way, keep in mind that I have my code in a directory named Structs, and I also went ahead and created a go.mod file. So this is my go.mod file. Okay, just for you to know. So let me open a terminal, and let's say go run, and it's giving me a bit of warning, but that's okay. Go run main.go. Okay, so notice I get false, which is the zero value of a bool. I get 0 since that's the zero value of an int, and I get some spaces here, which should not be a surprise because the zero value of strings are the empty string. Alright, now to make that more clear, I will print again, but this time, let me copy this. This time I will use a plus in between the percent symbol, the modulus symbol, and the V. Let's see what that plus makes happen. What is the significance of the plus? Okay, so notice when I do the plus, the field names are included. These field names, okay, these field names, alive, age, first name, last name, they're included in the output. So alive is false, age is 0, first name is the empty string, and last name is also the empty string. Okay, so that's straightforward. And by the way, you see structs all over Go code. So it's something that you must become competent in using and competent in reading. Alright? And they're rather straightforward to use. Okay, so we can also assign values to the fields. Okay, so let's do that. So I could say P1 dot age. Well, P1 dot alive is true. I could say P1 dot age is 43. I could say P1 dot first name is Jane, and I could say P1 dot last name is Smith. Okay, and so I could go ahead and I could print again. Okay, and let's see what gets printed. Okay, let me run my terminal. Go run. Okay, so we have true for the 3, J and Smith, and of course when you do the plus, we get the field names. Alright, that is what we expected. So let's look at how do we, and by the way, we could also do this if we wanted. We could say fmt that print ln p1 dot age. So we can print the fields individually. That's quite okay. So notice for the 3 gets printed. Alright, so can we use shorthand notation? Can we use shorthand notation? So let's declare and initialize a person. Okay, so by using the shorthand notation, we will simply create and initialize. And you already know about the shorthand notation. So to do that, I could easily say P2 colon equal, and we need to specify some value, right, for P2. And so we will have to put the name of the struct. We put the name of the struct, and we simply fill in what the values are for each field. So true followed by a comma. Age will be, let's say, 20. First name will be Anne. Last name will be Jones. And notice that a final comma comes at the end, right? And that's okay. So obviously, Go is telling me, the compiler is telling me here that P2 was declared but not used. Okay, so we can easily fix that. Let's print P2. So let's grab that here. Okay, and let's print P2. All right, so when we run this again, we get true, 20, and Jones, which are the values. And when you put the plus, we get the field names followed by the values. All right, so let me recap. Whenever we want to create a new type, because in programming, there are many instances where you need to create a new type. And so to do that, we will use the keyword type, the name of the type you want to create, followed by the keyword struct. Alright, and inside the curly braces, we simply list the individual fields or components of the overall larger type. Once you have this type specification here, you can go ahead and inside main you can start creating rebels of that type. So P1 is of type person, and here P2 is of type person. Here we simply declare, so when we print we get the 0 values, and here we declare and initialize in 1. Alright, so that's it for structs in Go. Again, they're rather straightforward. However, they're used a lot in Go code. So it is important that you know how they work and how to work with them. I'll see you in the next lesson.